Hey, this is Wolfman Jeff with a Red Wolves report. That's right, these things still exist. Been waiting to have something to report on, and we've got a bit of good news today. We've been holding off and waiting to find out what the news was over for League One, to find out what our schedule and so forth is going to be. And I can't give them too much of a hard time because every time they create a schedule, something has happened. Of course, the whole world right now is at bated breath and waiting and just kind of on pause with what's been happening with COVID-19. And everything I'm about to say is all subject to change because of that. And I think that's something just to remember and be patient. They had a schedule, they were ready to go, ready to announce it. And what they had done was to eliminate as much travel as they had to, or at least lessen it. One side was going to have one they weren't going to travel to, and then they're going to double up on a to a side that's a little bit closer to help, so that way it helps stop the spread, less travel. I think that's a little healthier, and that was a good idea, except for then Toronto had to pull out of the league for this year, and not going to give Toronto FC2 a hard time because I do know that the restrictions over in Canada have, especially with how they have to do with traveling to the U.S., they've had to close the border down, and it's very, very difficult for an American to get into Canada, and then you start adding all the other international players, and as well as Canada is trying to limit travel going into the U.S. for Canadian citizens. So back and forth, and even though that might seem a little bit much for us, Canada is doing much better than we are as far as from being able to control this and to limit this. But I was aware of those situations because my daughter lives in Nova Scotia, and I knew that I wasn't going to be able to go see her this summer. But we've been able to adjust. Initially, we were going to have Tucson, FC Tucson, which is the 2 side for Phoenix Rising, which is a championship side, was going to be our team to skip for the year, if you will, because that's one less trip for Tucson to come all the way out here, and that's probably one of our furthest trips for the Red Wolves to go out there, so that was beneficial. But when Toronto had to pull out, they adjusted, and it kind of looks like what they're doing now is then going back to the plan, I'm guessing, of you still have the one side that's your local rival that you're going to be playing 4 times, 2 home and 2 away, and where you used to play Toronto, I guess, that's now going to be replaced by the team that was going to be your skip side. So unless your skip side already was Toronto, and so for your schedule is probably pretty good. But the good news, especially for us, and it was just announced today, and it's taking forever to get to it, is we do have news. Our season opener, now this is on the road, over there in Statesboro, Georgia, at South Georgia Tormenta. We will be there, and I think it's the 25th, I think it is, of July. It's going to be next Saturday. It's coming up very quickly. And so we start the road. We start the season on the road, which we always had planned. But initially, we were going to plan several times out on the road to give us a little chance to finish up our stadium. But then our season opener has been announced. It is going to be, hopefully, August 1st, and we are hosting FC Tucson. So obviously, Tucson is not the side that we're going to skip. Obviously, Toronto is going to be the side that everyone's going to skip, and I expect that we will still play, just for numbers-wise, we're still going to be playing Tormenta more than once, which I'm good with, I'm happy with, and so that's August 1st, a good day to remember. I believe we'll start a little early at 5 o'clock rather than at 7 o'clock. Been really excited about the stadium. It's still coming together, and one thing I do want to point out is you've been seeing in the news more and more about the stadium. It is not the completed stadium. So there is still more to be done. So if you saw the renderings from a year ago, it's still going to look more like that, but it's not going to look like that this year. So right now we have a pitch we could play on. We could get out there and we could start playing. There will probably be some temporary buildings and other structures brought in for August 1st. But as they continue, and they will continue working on the stadium, and then by the end of the season, they will probably see even more improvements to the stadium, and then they'll continue with that. But certainly enough for us to get started. It sounds like we are being moved to I think it's a 25% capacity, but we already have, if you look where they have seats, they've only got one side, which is the main side, that already has seats all the way around, and then they have that corner. It's like a little L, and I think the other part that doesn't have the seats in yet is the part where the supporter side is going to be, as well as some general admission. There will be some seats in that area, and so there's some, and I suspect things will be put in by August 1st. If you've been following on Twitter and you've been following on the social media account, the seats that are in there now, they went in very quickly, so they have plenty of time to still get some more seats in there and to get some other things added. Otherwise, if not, then they may have us all on that one big side. So we're going to see how this goes. Excited about it? Yes. Will I be able to go? Beth and I are going to have to gauge this. My mom has some health issues that has her at high risk, and depending on her age, as well as some other medical issues that she's been facing. And so we are going to be very cautious with this. I'd like to go. There is a chance that I might go to Statesboro. Some of us from the Red Wolves are talking about that. So the pack is looking into maybe doing a road trip. That was the plan for Greenville. It's a longer trip, but it's a Saturday trip. So rather than a Friday night trip. So that's possible. It's more likely that I'll be there for August 1st. Whether or not Beth will be there, I hope she will. It really has to do with what's happening with the virus at the time, and I think a lot of people got to make that decision. But we hope to be there. You have to wear masks, but when you're in the stadium, when you're at your spot, you don't have to wear a mask as it is now, because you're supposed to be spaced out, so you're going to have a good distance. But we're not allowed to do our singing and chanting, which is going to be tough for us to not do, but I understand that, especially if you're not wearing the face mask, because that is one of the things that does push out all sorts of things out of your mouth. So if you have anything when you're shouting and when you're singing, that actually pushes it out much more. So I got myself not only a mask, but I have a face shield now, and so that might be something. You may see me, looks like I'm some kind of a gem miner or something. I don't know. It's going to look really odd, but so if I'm wearing that, that's because I don't trust you, but that's fine. We're going to stay as safe as we can. Hey, it's good to have some news, good to have this update. Let me know what you're thinking about. So we have our first game at South Georgia Tormenta. I think that should be a really exciting one. It's on the road, but I really know our side is really eager to get out there. So I'm thinking we may start with a road win, and especially at home, it's going to be really tough for Tucson, because our side really makes it tough for other sides to come in and win. We only lost one match the entire year last year at home, and I think with it being our new field, it's going to be even harder for them. So we could start off the year with 3 points at each match. So could happen. Hey, when we get the rest of the schedule, we'll cover a little bit more there. I'll also do some more talking about some of our new players as we get a little closer, as well as see if I can talk to some more people from the Red Wolves to give us a more of experience of what to expect when you come to CHI Memorial Stadium, where you park, what's it going to be like going into the park. And I think the first time I go, I'm hoping maybe I'll try to go ahead and record what it's like to get into your seat, and maybe just kind of share that journey so you know what to expect when you get there. So hey, this has been Red Wolves Report with Wolfman Jeff, coming at you